Chapter 15. When Thorn set out to meet Tracker, it was early that evening, and Tracker had gone to a Harley-Davidson shop and purchased what he really wanted. It was a prototype, a black rocker, and only one like it in the world, or so the salesman said. It wasn't easy to sell a $130,000 motorcycle in a small town. The bike had sat there behind locks and chains in a cage for a year. The manager had ordered it, and it had been a big mistake until now. This was a small town with small-town wallets. The only thing of any worth was the black rocker Harley-Davidson sitting there among the $16,000 bikes, and only a few humans owned those, and if they did own the inexpensive motorcycles, it was because they couldn't afford a truck or car. Who would have thought anyone would walk into this shop and purchase it? Tracker charged it to Hunter's account. He knew Hunter would scream bloody murder, but he had been too busy to get credit cards in his name and enough money to travel with. However, Hunter knew that Tracker was good for the money, and he wouldn't complain too much when he replaced the bike Bo destroyed. Then he remembered the bike Hunter gave him, which was trashed by Bo, and that had infuriated him more than being shot. Watching at the bike, he couldn't help but rub it and lean over to kiss it. He loved that bike more than the last one, and whispered to it, "I won't let anyone hurt you." Still feeling the effects of his wounds and the medicine from the clinic, Tracker took it home and lay down to sleep. He never thought at this time he would have to worry about the humans coming back. Besides, he thought Zoey was all they wanted, and Bo was satisfied that Tracker had wandered into the forest and died there. Bo just cleaned up the scene, so he wouldn't have any trouble with the owners of the cabin. It was somewhere after 8 when Tracker opened his eyes. The cabin was dark, but he could see, and this had been his home away from home, so he knew every inch of the place. He didn't need lights. But then he heard the creak of the wood flooring, and he knew someone was in the living area. Tracker leapt from his bed and stood near the door. The door burst open, and 2 men began firing into the bed. Not seeing him until it was too late, Tracker reached for both men, and with one hand he threw one to the floor. The man collapsed against the side of the wall made of pine trees. Tracker hurled him like tossing a brick. The other he ripped apart with both hands and left him lying there like a plastic doll a child had taken apart to see what was inside. Breathing hard and not thinking it through, he believed they were robbers who had come across the cabin by mistake, or they found out he had bought the bike and wanted it. He leaned over the one he threw against the wall, and placed his hand to his neck to check whether he was dead, and he wasn't. Tracker knew he had to do something. He decided to take the unconscious man into the woods. Leave him to the elements and let nature take its course. The other man who had been ripped apart had to be disposed of so no one could find him. He remembered that there was a well on the property. And first things first, he picked up the dead man and dragged him by his arms out to the well, and tossed him inside. It wasn't his best plan, but it was all he had. After he had disposed of the dead, the still-breathing human was casually dropped miles from the cabin in the heart of the forest, amid the sounds of wolves and bears. Then he returned to wait on Thorn. Thorn arrived at 9 that night. Tracker heard the roar of his motorcycle, and he knew it was him. If it had been someone else, he would have heard them. Because of the constant visit from humans coming onto the property, he slept light. He could hear movement all the time, but most times it came from miles away. He had to teach himself to pick up on noise close to him. But if they were that close, they would be trying to kill him like the 2 men. It suddenly occurred to him what his father had said was true. If you go out into the world of men, expect to be hunted and maybe killed by a gun. He had been shot twice and hunted. This is the world he had chosen, and now he had to live with it. Tracker stood watching as Thorn got off his bike and parked it. Thorn sauntered up to the door and it opened. "Tracker, what are you doing in the dark? Why weren't you more cautious? I could have been waiting for you and shot you." "You wouldn't," Thorn said. "But the humans would." Thorn turned the lights on. "What is going on in here?" I smell human blood, he said to Tracker. It's better than smelling my blood. 2 men came for me and 1 I killed. The other I dropped deep in the forest. If he finds his way out, he deserves to live. Thorn studied Tracker. He appeared to be unhinged. He was never nervous about anything. Totally fearless. That's what Thorn admired in his big brother. But if he was afraid, it was because he had been through something he wasn't ready to talk about. This is the second time I've been shot by the same man, Tracker said with Thorn walking behind him. They stopped in the kitchen. Thorn needed water and fresh meat. He opened the fridge. Have you eaten? Tracker said. What say we go hunting? You probably need fresh red meat to calm you and get your strength. It was the first time Thorn had said something encouraging. As a younger brother, Tracker had taken care of Thorn and gave him words of advice, and now he needed him and he came through. After we eat and rest, then we can take care of your girl's husband. She's not really my girl. I've been thinking more and more about Sadia. Tracker wasn't truthful. He had been thinking about Sadia every day since he met her in the club, and when he took her in the hotel. If I were you, I would come back home and bring her with me. You're not me. The road is no home for a girl like her. I'm not good for her. And who is? That werewolf I saw her with tonight? What are you talking about? Tracker's eyes narrowed. I'm saying she was out with a sleazy werewolf. You know the type? Thorn glanced at him. You're wasting your time with a female human who has a husband who wants to kill you. You don't understand. Sadia fooled me. She has these powers to mask her scent and make me think I'm with a human. But isn't that what you want? No. I don't want a werefemale pretending to be human. If I wanted her, I would have stayed there. But Tracker lied to Thorn and himself. His heart beat for Sadia, his cock yearned for Zoey, but his love rested with Sadia. He could get only one of the females out of his system. And he knew which one it was. The other would be impossible to ever separate him from her. We're going back to that town and take Zoey with us to Mexico. I don't care who I have to kill to get her. And what about Sadia? Tracker thought. He shifted his head to the side, passed his hands along his short beard and said, She'll be there when I'm ready, but now I need Zoey. She must be some kind of female, Thorn said, smiling. I can't wait to meet her.